Hi, I'm Joe Neal, and I've been leading field trips for Northwest Arkansas Audubon Society for off and on for a long time. And one of the field trips that seems that we all really enjoy, especially, is out to Ninestone Land Trust. And we now go out there once in the spring and once in the fall. And so I thought you might just enjoy seeing what we find attractive about Ninestone Land Trust. So we like that waterfall right there. That's a famous feature of Ninestone Land Trust, that big waterfall. And there's a different image of it. It's coming down off the hillside with a bunch of kettles and it flows into Piney Creek. So Ninestone Land Trust it's privately owned property, but it's affiliated with the Ozark Regional Land Trust. And there's 412 acres there, and it's in Carroll County, east of Fayetteville. And the cool thing about Ninestone Land Trust, not only that it's in a land trust, but it has a lot of very unique Ozark habitats. Like Piney Creek is a perennial spring, a creek, and it's spring fed. There are all kinds of tall bluffs with shallow caves and beautiful rolling upland fields, stands of shortleaf pines, and some wonderful glades, Ozark glades that they have been busy working on restoration on. So I think that's the only data slide you're going to have to endure on this program. So we owe nine Landstone Land Trust to these people. Don Matt sitting in front and Judith Griffith behind, and they've climbed up to this shallow cave that's up in the bluff. And they've welcomed a lot of people to this place over the years. And Judy is a renowned artist, and I think they got the down payment, or quite a bit of it, from work that Judy did over the years for Hallmark cards. But at any rate, I got her to pose with this photograph of a piece of artwork she did when she was 5 years old. So that's what we're looking at right there. It's Judy Griffith and her artwork when she was 5 years old. And this is what they've been doing during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's Don, who has recently retired from Eureka Springs City Government, and Judith taking a little bit of time off from artwork and feeding her chickens, and then their two prize dogs. And some of the older trees there, the pine trees have died, and it's been a great place to see red-headed woodpeckers. And look at this. What I'm going to try to do here in this program, it's not just going to be mostly about birds, though there are a lot of birds, but I just want you to see part of what really causes a lot of excitement for us, because not everybody is mainly interested in birds. But I mean, this is an incredible creature, right? A blue-faced meadowhawk dragonfly. And look at the plant itself. I mean, and this is what Ninestone is really about. It's about all this diversity. And this is one of the lady's tresses. It's an orchid. And how about that for an awe-inspiring landscape? That's all Ninestone. And there have been a lot of field trips at Ninestone. Don and Judy have been really good about letting people come to this property and study it. And here they're doing some pretty serious botanical work. And of course, you see Judy, and I just want to mention my friend Joe Woolbright, who is in the back there, has been very involved in work on the glades at Ninestone. His company, OERI, Ozark Ecological Restoration, Inc. And there are a lot of beautiful flowers at Ninestone. And interesting life forms like this beetle. And this plant is a listed plant. It's called Barbara's Buttons. But look at that amazing wasp out there. it's, I just, every time I go out to Ninestone, I see things like this, and it just fills me with wonder. And one guy that got a lot of inspiration for this is a musician named Bill Thurman, and he got sick with what turned out to be an incurable health issue, and he made a lot of trips to Ninestone while he was working on healing himself, and I think he got several more years of life because of that. A wonderful guy, Bill Thurman. And one of my favorite flowers are called fame flowers, or flower of an hour, and they grow on the glades. And I was up there at the right hour. And this is David Oakley. And I know you might think I'm taking advantage of my old buddy David Oakley, but I actually called him and reminded him that I had this photograph. And could I use it if I made a PowerPoint program about Ninestone? He said, "You can do anything you want." Now, I don't know if he knew I had this particular photograph, but he said it was okay. And there's been a lot of different kinds of research at Ninestone studying different aspects of the plants and animals. And this is Lisa Marshall when she was a U of A Fayetteville PhD student. And this was after she'd gotten her PhD, I think. But she was still real interested in Louisiana water thrushes. And they nest along Piney Creek. And Don and Judy uh, gave her a lot of support for her research. And I just have to say that music. I'm just trying to think about the right way to put this. Okay, so Don Matt. We've already introduced Don Matt, and this is his buddy Scott Thompson. And Scott's got that blue V, so he's on the left, not wearing a cap. These two guys have played music for years around Eureka, and they're close friends. And what you really realize is that Ninestone is not only about preserving a unique Ozark landscape, but it's also just about a way of living. And so this may have been Don's birthday or something. I don't know why they were singing, or it might have just been in a field trip. But at any rate, this is a great part of going out to Ninestone. And these two guys are talented musicians. And it's not only that wonderful, things like music, live music, but Ninestone has got ancient rocks. Look at all the fossils in this rock. And there's the Barbara's buttons, and wonderful butterflies. I think this is a morning cloak. You can correct me if you know better. And this is one of my favorite photographs. Okay, the two people with knives are not about to stab me for taking a photograph of them. These are botanists. And the one in the dark shirt with the knife is Brent Baker, and the other one is Theo Witzel, and he's got a plastic bag in his hand. And they both work for Arkansas Natural Heritage Commission. And Bernetta is on the left, Hinterthur, and she is a teacher at Northwest Arkansas Community College, and she's a botanist, also a professional botanist. And then on the right is David Oakley, my buddy David Oakley, that let me post that other photograph, and he's taking pictures of what they're collecting. And those knives they use to help dig plants out of the ground. So that I know they're trying to act like they're big tough guys, but they're really not. They really love plants. And I just enjoy all kinds of bird things, but I mean, how can you beat a yellow-throated vireo carrying food to a nest? Unless it's a Chuck Will's widow on a nest. And there was a bio blitz I'm going to tell you a little bit more about in a minute. And I found this during the bio blitz. I found this bird on a nest. And lots of interesting birds come to the feeders at different times of the year. By the way, I've not arranged anything here systematically. They're just things that interest me about Ninestone. So that's a female purple finch on the right, and then there's two pine siskins. And there's a male and a female purple finch. And white-throated sparrow. Well, how about that? Is that not a gorgeous bird or what? And ranging on over 400 acres, you come to a lot of cool habitats. And this is one called the Turtle Rocks. And it's part of a trail that the Audubon groups, that we often walk on the Audubon groups. And there are a bunch of really unusual plants at Ninestone. And I guess rough green snakes are not unusual as such, but I always just find them, well, I just haven't seen that many over the years, and they're just very cool looking snakes. Look at that, a green, beautiful green snake. And here's the wonder of wonders. This is sandstone. It's ripple marked sandstone. And you know, there was a river here where we're walking now in the year 2020. There was some kind of a river 300 million years ago. And those ripples from that time are now the top of a glade that we walk on every day when we go to Ninestone. And you know, it's really worthwhile to stop and think about what the meaning of time actually is. If you figure it out, let me know. But after so many millions of years, there's a lot of wonderful plants. And this is my own daughter, Ariel, who I was out at Ninestone with a few times. And she really loves Ninestone. So it's nice to know that people in her younger generation really love and care about landscapes like this. And ruby-throated hummingbirds attracted. Don and Judy have planted a lot of native plants in their yard, and they're sort of sample things so that you can get a feel for the plants and some of the native flora, even if you can't take long walks. For example, when my friend Doug James, toward the end of his life, couldn't go out on the longer hikes, he could really enjoy seeing things like this because it's near their house. And so you could see plants like this with cool animals like ruby-throated hummingbird. And how can you beat blue curls? How about that? And amazing plants and insects, insect pollinators. And a prairie lizard found him a perfect spot. And absolutely startling creatures like summer tanagers. This is a male. And here's my old buddy, the green snake again. Different trip. Pretty gorgeous creature, huh? And Louisiana water thrush again down by Piney Creek. And I showed you, the music, some of the music inside just a little while ago. Well, their outdoor porch is a wonderful place to sit and enjoy music. And there are a bunch of musicians on this porch right here. There's a world of musicians. And the guy with the guitar is Jack Williams, who's a famous composer and performer of music. And this back porch at Ninestone has got to be one of the most famous music places in Northwest Arkansas. Fortunately, not known by a whole lot of people. So I happened to be there and be able to enjoy this. And look at that. Now, doesn't that look like a deadly little creature, a ringneck snake? Nope, it's tiny and all it wants to do is get back to chasing bugs. And one of the special birds at Ninestone Land Trust up on the glades is blue-winged warbler. And we always love to see the blue-winged warblers at Ninestone. And there's Don getting out of the truck, the Ninestone truck, as you can see. And those two people are both U of A Fayetteville graduate students, or were at the time the photograph was made. The guy's Anant Deshwal, and he's from India. And with him is Pooja Panwar, also from India. And these two people both have degrees in engineering and they're from India, but they both really wanted to be biologists. And they're both really bright, and they came to the U of A Fayetteville, and Anant has finished his PhD, and Pooja is close to finishing her PhD, and they both studied birds, and they both love Ninestone. And so that's a pretty good example of this connection with the land trust and preserving habitats, and then giving people a chance to come and study them. And international relations, I'd say, too. And during migration, well, how much more dramatic can you get than rose-breasted grosbeak? Unless it's a Kentucky warbler, a bird that nests along Piney Creek at the Land Trust. And our old buddy, the red-headed woodpecker again. Yes, this is indeed a summer tanager, and it's on its way to getting the red. And we often see them in spring like this when they first come in from the tropics. And you know that glade I showed you a little while ago that had the ripple marks? Well, this is what it looks like later. And those are fame flowers, flower of an hour, and other plants that have found a way to live on these bare, rocky glades. It's an endangered habitat in the Ozarks and has been lost in a lot of places. And one of the big projects at Ninestone Land Trust is the restoration of habitats like this. And there was a bio blitz a few years ago, and these were students from U of A Fayetteville, and I don't remember. I think they were mammalogists. They were bat people. They set up nets and were catching and identifying bats. And here's a field trip out on one of the bluff lines. And I just want to finish here. I mean, I could go on. There's so much going on at Ninestone Land Trust. It's ethical, it's spiritual, it's botanical, it's ornithological, and I really like this. Don started this cairn, and people are invited to put a rock or something on this cairn and make a wish. And I think that maybe there's hope for our planet, because this is a lot of wishes over several years. And I thank you all for coming out to Ninestone Land Trust with me, and I hope sometime you'll have a chance to go out there and see it for yourself. After we get done with COVID-19, I'm talking to you in December 2020, when we're really still in the middle of it. But we'll resume our field trips when COVID's done, and just stay tuned. Maybe you'll get a chance to go. Thanks a lot.